and the truth about the 2016 race. Our next guest thinks Donald Trump unlikely to be the Republican nominee. Why? Well, let's ask Larry Sabato, director of the Center for Politics at the University of Virginia. Hi, Larry. Why?
Hey, Gretchen. How are you?
Great. Why?
Why? Well, look, Gretchen, we think at the Crystal Ball that Republicans are likely sooner or later, and maybe later, maybe in the middle or the end of the primary season, they will return to a more traditional politicians, more traditional candidates, people who have had public office experience. It's a rare thing when a party turns to an individual who has never held any public office. Now, that doesn't just apply to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
It applies to Ben Carson. It applies to Carly Fiorina. We're not saying they're bad people. We're not saying anything critical about them. We're saying in our capacity as election analysts, we think eventually Republicans will pick one of perhaps 5 candidates who've held public office or holding public office.
I want to show those 5 candidates that you have narrowed it down to in your mind: Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, Scott Walker, Ted Cruz, and John Kasich. So why those 5?
Well, they're very different candidates, but you have to look at the combination of their experiences, their abilities, the amount of money they've raised, how they're doing at least preliminarily in the polls, and also how they're positioned. Can they absorb supporters from candidates that may have to drop out for one reason or the other?
Okay, but here's the interesting thing about 2016, and I know that you write about this as well. 2016, the election cycle, will be unique. So in the past, history has been a pretty good indicator, and you would know that better than almost anybody, in determining what the future holds politically. But can we say that this time around with so much support for the unconventional politician in Trump, Carson, and Fiorina?
That's a great question, Gretchen. We can't say it absolutely. You can't say it with, perfect 100% future vision, because history, as you note, is a great guide, but it isn't a certain predictor of the future. But it usually is. And certainly we learn things over the centuries of American politics. And so can there be an exception? Sure. Parties do unusual things every now and then. The last candidate who was like Donald Trump, at least a little bit, for the Republicans was probably Wendell Willkie, a businessman nominated for president to run against Franklin Roosevelt in his third term bid in 1940.
Okay.
Now, he happened to lose pretty substantially. That's not to say the same thing would happen again.
All right. Very interesting analysis from the guy who does the crystal ball. Larry, good to see you.